Estimated date, between 3500 BC and 3000 BC, before Noah's flood. Long before empires, before the pyramids, even before history was written, there was a forgotten age, an age when giants walked among men. This is the age of giants. The world was still young. The days were long, the skies pure, and humanity lived under the direct light of creation. It was in this time that the sons of God, celestial beings mentioned in Genesis 6, descended to the earth. Captivated by the beauty of human women, they took wives for themselves. This forbidden union gave rise to something never seen before, the Nephilim, giants with superhuman strength, fierce and dominating. Their names were not just known, they were feared. They were not born to serve, but to subdue. Ancient peoples told stories of cities crushed, ordinary men falling like leaves before their might. They were called heroes of old, men of renown, but they carried the weight of corruption and violence. Gigantic in size and cruelty, their impact on the earth was devastating. The world groaned under their tyranny. Evil multiplied. Creation, wounded and corrupted, was no longer as it once was. And then, the Creator saw. The heavens went silent. The earth waited. The earth was corrupted in God's sight. Mankind's wickedness, fueled by the giants, had reached its peak. They ruled everything. Mountains, valleys, entire cities bowed beneath their colossal feet. But what men saw as unstoppable, heaven saw as unbearable. God the Creator chose to intervene. In the midst of the decay, one man stood apart, Noah. Righteous among a corrupt generation, he walked with God. And to him, the Lord revealed his plan. Judgment was coming. A great flood would cover the earth, washing away the violence and corruption the Nephilim had spread. While the giants built fortresses, Noah built an ark. While men told tales of war and conquest, Noah preached repentance. But they mocked him. The giants laughed. How could they fall? They were the kings of the world. But the sky darkened. Rain began to fall, drops that turned into torrents. The earth shook. The fountains of the deep burst forth, and while the mighty sought shelter, the ark rose upon the waters. Giants, with all their strength, could not withstand the hand of the Creator. The waters rose, and the age of giants sank into the depths of oblivion. The waters covered the earth for many days. The sound of destruction gave way to a deep silence, a silence never heard since the days of creation. Where once the thunderous footsteps of giants echoed, now only the waves danced over the ruins of the old world. The Nephilim, with all their strength and fame, became nothing before the judgment of the Creator. Their names vanished from the lips of the survivors. The stories of their deeds were now whispered as warnings, not glory. The earth had been cleansed, washed by justice, and the heavens opened once again with light and hope. Inside the ark, Noah, his family, and the animals waited. Each wave striking the wood reminded them they were protected not by human ingenuity, but by divine grace. It was the beginning of a new time, a new covenant, yet the weight of what had been lost still lingered. As the waters began to recede, they revealed an unrecognizable landscape. The world was no longer the same. The mountains seemed quieter, the valleys deeper, and the air carried the scent of new beginnings mixed with the mourning of what had ended. No giant walked among men anymore. Their bodies, if any remained, were buried in the depths as an eternal warning. And God spoke to Noah. He promised never again to destroy the earth in such a way. A rainbow was set in the clouds, not just as a sign of promise, but as a reminder that even in the face of the greatest corruption, mercy can still shine. The age of giants had ended, but their marks would remain in memories, in accounts, in stories passed down through generations, because the world needed to remember, no matter how great man's strength or how renowned his heroes, before God, all pride will be silenced. Time moved forward. Generations rose and fell. Though the earth had been renewed, it still whispered echoes of what once was. Hidden caves in the mountains preserved ancient carvings. Peoples of distant nations spoke of legends, giants who once walked among men, beings so powerful they challenged divine order itself. But to many, they were only myths, stories told to frighten children or explain inexplicable ruins. Yet those who searched with open eyes and discerning hearts could feel the truth lingering beneath the surface. 3. Prompts de imagem ultra-realistic. Noah and his sons told their descendants about the dark days before the flood, the corruption, the violence, and the giants. These accounts survived the ages and were written down by ancient civilizations, from Mesopotamia to Egypt, from Canaan to the far corners of the earth. Traces of the age of giants endured. Millennia later, archaeology would uncover bones too large to be human, walls built with stones weighing tons, inscriptions speaking of beings of immense stature and power. Were these coincidences, or testimonies left behind by a forgotten age? Time did not erase everything. In silent moments between mountains and deserts, in forgotten scrolls, whispers still tell the story of the ancient lineage of giants. Though most perished in the flood, some believe their genes continued, mingled among the nations. Stories of towering warriors arise in post-flood biblical accounts, like the Anakim, the Rephaim, and Goliath of Gath. They were remnants, distant echoes of a former age. Still giants, still feared. Israel would face them more than once, as recorded in Numbers, Deuteronomy, and Samuel. The battle between the descendants of faith and the remnants of corruption continued. But God's people did not face giants with swords alone. They faced them with promises, with obedience, with faith in the Most High. Like David before Goliath, victory didn't come from strength, but from who was with them. The age of giants reminds us that no strength, no name, no dominion can exalt itself above the purpose of God. Pride may rise like mountains, but before the Creator, even the greatest shall fall.